Hello again there folks, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Lone Adventurer. Thank you very much for stumbling your way upon this video, joining me for another adventure. And today I'm going to be playing through The Black City, which is a game from Gabriel Caron with graphic design by Marianne Gravel. And this is available on itch.io. If you want to grab yourself a copy, there'll be a link down in the description below. I think it's pay what you want, but as always, I would encourage you to throw a couple of pennies in the direction of the designer when you get your copy, if you are able to do so. If you find yourself enjoying this video, do consider subscribing to my channel and maybe trawling through what is turning into quite an extensive backlog of playthroughs of solo games like this one and other solo games that are different to this one. That sounded better in my head. Okay, this is a game based upon, wait for it, Dark Fort, which is the precursor to Morkborg, the mini solo game which came before Morkborg. I've played it on this channel. There'll be a link up in the corner of the video right about now and down in the description below. I've played Dark Fort on the channel, and I have played, I think, possibly 5 or 6 other games that are essentially reimaginings of Dark Fort. They all do things a little bit differently. They all adjust the setting slightly or the context of the adventure and play around with increasing the complexity or decreasing the complexity of the mechanics and the rules, adding in new twists and things like that. And Dark City is no different. So what we're looking here is a 4A5 or 2A4 piece of paper, which is the entirety of the rules. And really it's even less than that, because over here all we've got is a nice graphic and a little bit of introductory text. And if we flip it over, this is pretty much all of the rules that you need for the game. And then there's a couple of other little bits on the back here. So it is very compact. It is much like the original Dark Fort in that sense. So that is Dark Fort that came with this Morkborg supplement. This is the Cult Ferretry, I think it's called. I still haven't given this the time that it deserves in terms of just browsing through it. But when you purchase this, you also get a copy of Dark Fort. And you can see that this is much the same. So where we've got that there, we've got that there. And then the rules essentially cover the same amount of paper space. I would say Dark City has, or the Black City rather, has slightly increased the sophistication of the rules, added in a little bit more meat to the bone, as it were, but it retains that Morkborg Dark Fort sensibility. And I think it's actually set... The sun's just gone in, I don't know if that came out on the video. Maybe I should turn the light on as well. And I think this one is actually set in the world of Morkborg, so the land that Morkborg is predominantly set in. So this is the introductory text we've got here. At the northern edge of the world, overlooking the endless sea, lies the black spire city of Alliáns. Far and wide it is known that its terrible regent, the Blood Countess Anthelia, will reward with eternal youth whomsoever delivers into her hands the 6 lost magical artefacts of the Creton order. Will you brave the danger of the dead streets of Alliáns, or will the biting winds of Kyrgyz forever sing of your cowardice? So we are going to be exploring the Black City, hopefully surviving for long enough, which I have not done so far, to collect all of the 6 magical artefacts. And when you collect all 6, you automatically win the game. So we have got a character sheet here. It's pretty minimal. We have got a name. I've called my character Korag. We have an inventory space, A little reminder that if you're unarmed, you do D2 damage. Then we've got a torch section. Now this isn't really mentioned in the rules, you just have to refer to the character sheet for this. You will either be in a lit status or an unlit status. I imagine that while we don't have a torch, we would be in unlit, which means half healing rounded down, cannot avoid traps, no bonus to monsters, which sounds like a disaster, and I don't know how easy it is to get a torch. Light torch using flint or in warm shelter may only carry one torch at a time, extinguish torch at any time, but it becomes lost. Then we've got a little area to record our magical artefacts, and we've got a very small area to record our HP, our silver and our points. So I think immediately I'm just going to add a larger HP section, and we've got a section for silver, and I'm going to give us a larger section to record our silver in as well. And that is it. So we can turn to the setup section here. You have 15 HP. So I'm just going to write 15 here as our max. And I'm going to put 15 here as well. You are carrying 2d10 plus 15 silver coins. Now for this game, as with many games of this nature, you will not only need 6-sided dice, traditional dice, you'll also need a set of polyhedral dice. So that is dice with 4 sides, 8 sides, 10 sides. We've got 2 10-sided dice here, one to represent the tens, which is used a little bit in this, a 12-sided dice and a 20-sided dice. So for this, we're going to roll our 10-sided dice, and we're going to roll it twice. 9, that's good. 8, fantastic, so 17. So we are getting 17 plus 15, which is 32 silver. That is a decent chunk of change to start with. Good news. Then we roll a d4 to see something that we will start with. 1, that's what happened last time. Wooden stake does the least amount of damage, but we also get some flint, and we can use that to light a torch if we're lucky enough to find one of those. Alright, so I've written down the wooden stake and the amount of damage that it does, which is a d4 amount of damage. So if we are able to do damage, we roll d4, and that's how much damage we do, and flint. And we also get another thing. 4 gives us a city map. That is handy. Basically, every area we go to in the city, we have to roll to see how many exits there are from that area, and this would add +1 to that roll, meaning that we are more likely to find exits, and more likely also to find access to the sewer, which allows us to move more freely around the city. And that's it. That is set up, done. So the next thing we have to do is roll for our start location. I think this might be the only D100 roll that we do. So we're going to roll our 2d10, and we get 61. And starting from the top corner, although this isn't fully explained, you need to use that number to work out which square you start in. I've taken it to mean just the 61st square starting from the top corner, which I believe would be this square here. So we are starting in this square here, and I'm going to be putting a little number in the corner of each square, and then just recording what we find in each area of the city as we go through it. Right, having rolled for our first square, we need to roll for an initial event in that location. And we've rolled a true. Oh, this is good. We've rolled a 2, which means that we have found a market where we can trade with a merchant. That is fantastic. So this is the merchant over here. The merchant has got 8 items that we can buy. Do we have to roll or can we choose? I think we can probably choose, but looking at these, some of them are quite expensive. A shield is 40 silver. And how much have we got? 32, so we couldn't afford a shield. A city map we've got already. But a city map costs 40 silver, so we've started off with something pretty valuable there. A spiked mace and tattered cloth are well out of our price range. Why would tattered cloth be 60 silver? There must be something somewhere else here where you can do something beneficial with tattered cloth, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, but looking at this list, the options that are logical are unlit torch, which is a mere 10 silver, because we've already got the flint, which means we could lit our torch and gain the advantage. So we're definitely going to do that. And then we might also buy a potion, because a potion allows us to gain 6 HP. That would cost us almost all our money, but I think it's probably a sensible idea. It's a shame the well-meaning merchant doesn't have a weapon that we can afford, but you can't have everything. So let's do that. First of all, we're going to spend 10 on an unlit torch. We're then going to use our flint. That means the flint is used up. We're going to do that to light the torch. Oh, that's created a bit of a mark. Rubbish pencils marked my sheet. You probably can't. No, you can see that. That's going to bug me. Hey ho. But we're moving to lit. That's costing us 10. And now that our torch is lit, we have full healing. We can avoid all traps and +1 point to monsters. Max 6. Oh, so I think that means you add on 1 point when you are fighting monsters. Now you can see them more clearly. That's going to make a massive difference, because it was monsters that killed me last time I played this game. And we're also going to get the potion, which is going to cost us 15. Okay, so that's spending a total of 10 plus 15, 25, which is going to take me down to 7 silver. But I now feel much better equipped to go into the Black City. That was just the starting event. You only do that once when you roll for your first location. We're now going to move on to the main gameplay loop, which is rolling for exits for the location you've just moved into, and then rolling for an encounter in that location. So we're going to roll on the exits table. Now, if you remember, because we've got the map, we're going to be adding on +1. So we're rolling D8. Notice that this table goes up to 9. The 9th one is the sewer access, which I mentioned earlier. And obviously you'll only be able to get that if you're adding on the +1. So if we roll an 8, it becomes a 9, we get sewer access. 4 plus 1 is 5, which means we've got left and right, which I guess is like a T-junction. Yeah, I'm going to imagine that we're coming on in this direction like that. So our road is going to the left and to the right. So that's left and that's right. Maybe that doesn't make sense. Maybe it'd make more sense to do it all. Now I'm not sure. Should you do it all from the perspective of you, the person sitting at the table, or the perspective of the person there? No, maybe it makes sense to do it from the perspective of the person sitting at the table. So left and right is literally my left and my right, which does mean that one of them is going to go off the edge of the page, but that's okay. We'll make sure we don't completely run out of places to go. I did forget also this section here, which is about searching squares. Each square can be searched once, and then there's a little D4 table that you roll on there. So it goes exit, encounter, search. So I think it could probably be argued that it would be nice for the search to be over here as well, but never mind. Okay, we need to have an encounter, and we're going to roll a D10 for that. 9 gives us warm shelter. We are having quite a bit of luck here. Light torch with flint. We've done that already. Could we do that before the game started? Or maybe we couldn't, but we can now. Well, that's good. So we can now light our torch. Fantastic. Catch breath, heal D4. Well, we're on max health. We get to search the shelter. This is the bit I was forgetting, or one of the bits I was forgetting. So search, each square can be searched once. There's a 1 in 4 chance of an ambush, 1 in 4 chance of nothing happening, 1 in 4 chance of finding an item, and a 1 in 4 chance that moonlight reveals a hidden passageway and you add an exit to your current square. So we need a D4. 1, ambush. Okay, I guess it was going too well, wasn't it? It was going too well, but you get ambushed by a weak monster, so it's probably going to be okay. So we've got the weak monsters table here. We're going to roll D6. 3 gives us a frostbitten ghoul. 3 points, 5 HP, 4 damage, ignores armour. So as with Dark Fort and many of these games, you're trying to meet or beat the number of points. If you do, you defeat the monster. You do your damage. If you fail, the monster does their damage. And if you do defeat them, you gain the points. And if you gain a certain number of points, something good happens. You get a magical artefact. So once you've defeated 12 points worth of enemies, you find a magical artefact, which is obviously the point of the game. Okay, that's enough waffle, isn't it? So we're going to attack the frostbitten ghoul. 5 is a successful hit. Frostbitten ghoul's got 5 points of HP. Now my weak spot is my weapon, really. My wooden stake only does D4 damage, so we're not going to kill him on the first hit. 1. Okay. Alright, so we're taking the frostbitten ghoul down to 4. We need to keep on going. 3, that is a successful hit. 1. Okay, keep it going. At least it's a weak monster. 6 is a successful hit. Come on now, let's do a bit more than 1 point of damage, eh? 4, there we go. So the frostbitten ghoul is defeated. Means we get 3 points. I'm going to put a separate points section as well. Right, and that is the first location. That's the first square done. So we're going to move on to the next one. Now, obviously, we're going to be going this way, because that's our only option. And we're going into this square here. We're going to roll D8, add 1, because of our map. 6, 7, right and ahead. So ahead is that way, and right is that way. Although part of me still thinks that I should be doing it from the point of view of the character, but perhaps that's just how my brain works. Maybe I should be going with that. Maybe it doesn't matter that much. We need to have an encounter. 6. A tough monster. Okay, it was tough monsters that killed me last time I played. So I'm a bit twitchy about these tough monsters. They can be pretty tough. 2. Oh, I see. When I think earlier on I said the torch bonus on monsters would give you +1 when you were hitting them, but it's just +1 points. Isn't that going to make them harder to hit? It is, isn't it? What's the logic behind that? I thought a torch should be a beneficial thing, but it's not. It's a mixed bag. Oh. Because you get full healing, you get to avoid traps, but +1 points to monsters means that monsters are going to be harder to engage in combat. I guess because you're easier to see? I hope I'm getting that logic right, because it says +1 points. And points is the number you're trying to meet or beat. So our Pale Knight is 4 points. But because we've got a torch lit, it's going to be 5 points, which means we have to roll a 5 or a 6 to get it. And it's got 10 HP and does D8 damage. I mean, this could easily be the thing that kills us. I mean, I'd have to hit it 3 times minimum, even in a best case scenario. Just reminding myself how you evade. Instead of fighting, you can try to flee. Roll on the evasion table. Alright, so it looks like it's a pretty decent shot at evading. I think I'm going to have to evade. So we will leave the Pale Knight. We'll just jot him down here because I think you can come back. Undefeated enemies stay in place. I read that somewhere, I think. So the Pale Knight is there. We're going to try and evade because there's no way really that we're going to be defeating this guy without getting close to death's door, and I don't want to be close to death's door. 3. Success, avoid damage and escape. Alright, that's pretty good. So we have successfully escaped. I guess that means we can't search. I think that logic dictates that we wouldn't be able to search, and we're going to carry on. We're going to go up this way here and see what we find. We need to roll for exits. Hopefully nothing quite so scary. 4 + 1 is left and right. And what encounter are we going to have? 1 quiet, empty street. Alright, let's search the quiet, empty street. 4. The moonlight reveals a hidden passageway. Add an exit to the current square. There we go. So we've got 3 ways to go now. Let's take the hidden passage we've just seen. So we're going to roll to see what the next square is. 2 + 1 is 3. We've just got a left. Roll for encounter. 2 is a trap, and we get to just automatically avoid traps because we've got our torch lit. I'm now seeing that the torch is a double-edged blade, as it were, because any tough monsters we come across are just going to be impossible, and it even makes some of the weak monsters tricky. So you have to roll at least a 4, because the weakest weak monster is a swarm of rats, which is 3 points, which makes it 4 with the torch lit. So you have to roll at least a 4 to even defeat the swarm of rats. Okay, but we avoided the trap, and we're gonna carry on the way we are going. I should be rolling a D8. I think I might have just rolled a D10 for the exits. I'm not sure. 5 + 1 is 6. Left and ahead. I think I'm going to have to switch to doing it from the perspective of the character moving around the streets, because my brain is just doing it that way automatically, I think. So that's left, coming from over here, that's left, and that's ahead. And the ahead goes out of the Black City, so naturally we're not going to go that way because we want to find all the whatchamacallits, the magical artefacts that we know to be in the city. I'm going to stop numbering the squares unless something happens in them, I think. Encounter 10. Ooh, treasure. Roll on the items table. How exciting. Here we go. So we're rolling D20 for this. It doesn't say for all of these, like what you're rolling. You just have to sort of intuit it from the number of options. So for a weak monster or a tough monster, you're rolling a 6-sided dice because there's 6 options. And down here on the items, since there's 20 options, we're rolling a 20-sided dice. 18. Tattered cloth. Oh, did we find a tattered cloth earlier? I wasn't sure what the point of it was. I found it in a different table. But it says here what the point of it is. Tattered cloth, single use. Move to any discovered square, including Anthelia's keep, if it has been revealed. Sounds handy. I had read this earlier, forgotten it, but that has just reminded me there is a rule for retracing your steps. The streets of Alliáns are treacherous. When retracing your steps, there's a 1 in 6 chance you encounter a weak monster, or a 1 in 4 chance if a torch is lit. So there is a sort of a wandering monster mechanic, but if you use the tattered cloth, you can just jump anywhere one time. That's pretty handy. Right, so that is that square done. Obviously we might as well go into this square here. Let's roll to see what we've got going on in there. 7, right and ahead. Well, that would be that way, and they're both dead ends. But so be it, I suppose. So ahead is going that way, right is going that way, and so what we have here is some dead ends. Roll for encounter. 7. Ooh, a merchant who'll buy and sell items. We've only got 7 silver though, so I can't afford anything. And I've got nothing I want to sell really, that's a shame. Does he stay in place? Merchants and other encounters can be met again. So let's mark him on here. We'll number him as 3, and then I'll remove those numbers over there. Alright, so we can't encounter the merchant, unfortunately. The chance of encountering a wandering monster have increased because of the torch we have lit. The problem is, once you put your torch out, lighting it again requires a flint, which the well-meaning merchant does carry, but it costs 20 silver, so it's not cheap. So then I'll be without a torch, which means that my healing would only be half, and I cannot avoid traps. I don't really know whether the torch is a good idea. But anyway, we're here. We need to get back over here to carry on in this direction. So each square we go in requires a roll for a wandering monster, a 1 in 4 chance. So if we roll a 1 on a d4, tell you what, we'll say a 1 or a 2 on a d8, so you can see the results on camera more easily. Going up this way, no, back into this square, no, back into this square, no, so we're safe. And we're going to carry on into this square here. Ooh, only 1 exit, right. It's quite good having the map, it means you're never going to find a dead end. So we're going right from here. I don't know what happens if you completely finish the map and you've got nowhere else to go. I don't think it says anywhere. I guess you just add in an extra and crack on. But anyway, that's not happening yet. We need to have an encounter. 5 gives us a tough monster. Rubbish. I'm just not good at fighting because of my weak weapon and the fact that I'm holding a torch. Is it time to put the torch out? Is that a bad idea? Oh, you lose the torch as well. So not only do you have to gain a flint, you have to gain a torch if you want to go back to using a torch. Right, so what tough monster are we facing here? 1. A warmth-crazed mob. 4. So we have to roll 5 to hit. I think we're going to have to try and get them, aren't we? So let's mark them on the map. And they've got 8 HP. Here we go. So they've got 4 points, but actually 5 points because of my torch. So we need to roll 5 to hit. 4. So we fail, and we take 8 damage. No, we can't fight these guys. 1. Well, that's lucky. But that is, to be fair, the first damage we have taken. 1. That's a fail. Taking 5 damage this time. Yeah, see, we can't. That's really frustrating because I would like to take them out. Torch is fascinating. Really adds an interesting sort of decision to the game. Let's have one more try. 5. So we have hit, but we only do d4 damage. 4. Okay. Well, that's made me slightly more interested. Can I use my potion at any time? Now the thing is, I haven't seen anywhere anything about when you can use potions, or whether you can or can't in combat. So I choose to think that you can use your potion in combat. So I'm going to do it right now. 3. So we're regaining 3 health, back up to 12. And let's see if we can hit them again. 2, that's a fail. Oh, 8 damage. That's not what I wanted to see at all. That's taking me down to 4 health. I think we're just going to have to push on and try and defeat them and die. Possibly die. Probably die, but maybe not die. 6, that is a success. 3, that is taking the warmth crazed mob down to 1 point of health. 2, that means I have failed to hit and they're going to do me some damage. D8 damage, 8 points of damage, and that has defeated poor Korag. He is down. That's Black City, folks. I'm probably going to leave it there for this one. I do like it. I'm going to try and play some more off camera, but I hope you enjoyed that. That is Black City, another take on Dark Fort. I like it. It works quite smoothly. There's quite a lot here that we haven't seen yet. There's a crazed soothsayer, and a little crazed soothsayer table down here. That's intriguing. There are scrolls. We haven't looked at the scrolls yet. Obviously, we didn't encounter many of the monsters. Great big items table there with loads of items. Round the back here, traps. We never encountered a trap because we had the torch. And obviously we never got a magical artefact. So each of the magical artefacts has a different mechanic associated with it. I mean, look at that. The Warhammer of Urulf the Defeated. D8 plus 1 damage plus 1 to hit. I mean, if you had that, you'd be able to plough through a group of warmth-crazed folk in no time. So I think you just got to take the rough with the smooth, and possibly, if you want to have a slightly easier playthrough, give yourself another weapon. I mean, if you, in setup I rolled a 1. If you roll a 2, you get a broadsword, which does d6 damage. 3, a spiked mace, does d6 plus 1 to hit. And if you roll a 4, you get a staff for d4 damage, plus 2 random scrolls, which I'm guessing are quite useful, but we won't look too closely at that. Yeah, it's definitely a cool game. I'm sorry, I can't remember who recommended this to me. It was a viewer. Thank you very much. If you're watching this, let us know below that you are the person who found it. But I appreciate recommendations whenever they come my way. If you do want to recommend something to me, my email address is in the About section of this channel, so you should be able to find that. And yeah, I like it. I'm tempted to do another playthrough on camera. I might. Let me know if you want to see that, although I do keep saying that about games. And the unfortunate reality is that my time is finite, and many of the games that I would love to show you or give more time to, I realistically just can't. But that's life, isn't it? Let's look at this final bit here. If you remember, when we got to the edge of the map, I said obviously I don't want to step outside the confines of the city, but you can do that if you want. And this is what happens if you do. Stepping outside the city means instant death. Roll d4 to see how you die. 1. Devoured by wolves. And that would be the end of your game. So if you really wanted to step outside the city, the Black City, you could. Anywho, thank you very much for watching that one, folks. Do consider liking this video if you enjoyed it and subscribing to my channel. Let me know in the comments below whether this is one Dark Fort conversion too far. Maybe I should stop now. I do have one more that I want to show you, and probably by the time I get round to filming that, someone will have made another interesting one. But thanks for watching this one, folks. See you next time. Bye for now.